It is time to go inside the game plan with PFL quarterback Heath Shuler. It's kind of odd to be talking about the Florida game this late in November.
This late. I think it does better for us. You know, I think we talked about it before the show. Going to Gainesville and trying to play in September can be so hot. You know, I think it's a disadvantage for Tennessee being on the road in September. I think it's an advantage for us to be there in November.
Okay, well, we'll see. I mean, I was down there a couple of years ago for this game, and it's stifling.
Yes,
I mean, it is suffocating. Yeah. Yes, but the environment, we touched on this a few minutes ago, but what is it about the Swamp that makes it almost feel suffocating for the opposition?
Well, first of all, they're right on top of you. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, the crowd's right on top of you, and the stadium kind of goes straight up, and the student section, at least it used to be, right behind the bench of the opposing team. So, you know, you were having to fight with, you know, with the student body was throwing things at you. But I mean, I think part of it.
Let's hope they can get taken care of those batteries that are thrown at you.
Yeah. I think now, you know, it's a, you know, it's hot, it's humid, and I think that's being taken away. Yeah. I think the distractions that they've had from having a coaching change is taken away, and listen to some of the commentaries from coming out of Gainesville. It's like the crowd is just like, yeah, we'll show up to the game. If it starts to be good, we'll get into it, but we're not expecting a whole lot, which, hey, I love the sounds of that.
Sure, but they're going to show up for this one.
Yeah, they always do.
Think?
It seems like they always do. I mean, throw the records away. It typically is a hard-fought game, and the team making the fewest mistakes wins.
Sure. Okay, so a lot riding on Joey Aguilar today. How does he get inside? How does he get ready for this game? Let's talk about your preparation, how you got prepared for big matchups like this.
Well, the big thing is you want to play the game in your mind, right? And so you take your play sheet and you start visualizing that play. You close your eyes. You literally, is like you're on tape. You're watching the film, but you're playing it in your mind. You play that game over and over, play by play, and you start to realize, and the one thing is to play the play, but make sure it's always a positive play. It's always the completion. You're doing the right thing. You know, when's the layoff? When do I lay it off to the running back or the tight end? Those type things really prepares you for the game. And it's almost like once it happens in the game, it's like, I've seen this movie before. Okay. I know how to do it. So visualization was always really important part of my game, especially when things started going, you know, maybe not as well as I would have liked them to. I started playing them more often.
So you would do that all week? Or
yeah,
just
I would start early. I would start
Okay.
early. Yeah, early in the week. Once we got the game plan and we were at practice, I would spend time. You can't do it, you know, more than, you know, 4 or 5 minutes at a time and then do something else. But start looking at those plays every single day.
Okay. Florida's had a little bit of communication issues so far this season. How does Tennessee take advantage of those communication issues? Are we going to see that pop up today, perhaps?
Yeah, I mean, the hope is, and it's always the challenge when you are playing in a tough environment, is your motion. You know, utilizing, moving, and shifting our teams. The other thing that we do is when we run our routes, sometimes we cross the patterns, and crossing those patterns, you know, you got to be really up on your communication when you're playing defensive back. So I would look to see some of those crossing patterns, those type routes that we saw earlier in the season.
Real quick, Tennessee against Alabama and Oklahoma, both of those teams that came out on top, taking advantage of the line of scrimmage. What do you think Florida's game plan is today against Tennessee?
You know, you have to, you know, if you're Florida, you want to win the line of scrimmage. You know, you want to stop our running game, because when we don't run the ball well, our offense we struggle. Yeah. And so you want to win in the trenches, and their defense that's probably their defensive front's probably their best aspect of it, although they gave up over 200 yards rushing last week. Yeah. So, you know, we want to make sure that if we rush for over 200, 225 yards, we win the football game.
Sure.